And welcome to the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, in between Sarasota and Bradenton for the 2019 United States Australian Football League National Championships. We are talking Division 2. This battle is between the Texas Heat and the DC Eagles. Of course, the DC Eagles and Texas Heat are made up of a combination of team. The DC Eagles club are joined by players from the Des Moines Roosters and Arizona Outlaws, while the team predominantly in white are the Texas Heat, made up of the Austin Crows, obviously the Dallas Dingoes, the predominantly stronger club out of the three, the Houston Lone Stars, plus they also have assistance from players from the Los Angeles Dragons joining them here today. I'm Peter Holden from Women's Australian Rules Football Radio. Great to have your company. We hope to be joined very shortly by Erin Phillips, who's just been busy signing some autographs, and she'll be making her way around shortly to join us in the broadcast position, and she'll be giving her thoughts on this game as we go through in this Women's Division 2. It is a complicated mess in this Women's Division 2 pool match, because it is DC, Texas and Montreal, the Montreal-Chicago combination. Earlier, we saw a handy win by about 20 points by DC over the Montreal-Chicago combination. Then Montreal-Chicago defeated Texas by 2 points. This means the following: DC win, bang, Texas are out. DC and Montreal proceed to the semi-final stage. If the Texas Heat win by a point, that is not enough to make the next round. If they win by more than 2 points, that guarantees them the next round. If they win by more, and that will knock out Montreal. However, if they win by more than 20 points, that will save Montreal and knock out the DC Eagles. There's some complicated math to be played out in this Division 2 game. We're waiting for the umpire to hold the football aloft, and we'll be underway here for the first half on Go Live Sportscast, Field 2 here at the Premier Sports Campus. Coming away quickly with it is Lalani Silvio, put it on the right boot, coming towards the broadcast side, half-back flank. It is Texas Heat attacking to the right of your screen. Hand pass out there by Stewart, got it across to Heather Serpico, formerly of the Portland Sockeyes and New York Magpies. Got it towards the half-forward flank position, trying to get in there and lay the tackle. It's Velasquez, didn't quite come out there, and the umpire's blown the whistle and going to call for a ball up, so we'll restart the play. So we're between centre wing and the half-forward flank. Again, it's Texas wearing the white jumper with the blue sash. They are going toward, or should I say teal sash, going towards the right of screen. Close towards the boundary line. Eagles will elect to try and keep it in instead of letting the ball to go out. Molly Halberstadt put her head over the football, can't get it in there. Lalani Silvio trying to drag it out, couldn't do so. Met in the challenge by Sobral. Hand pass back out, going to the way of Molly Halberstadt. Now trying to put it onto the running contest there of Trichler. Can't get the football out there for DC. Halberstadt goes in. It's all tied up, and we'll call for a ball up. We'll just ask the cameraman just to watch behind him. We have our special guest coming up in a moment's time. That is Erin Phillips, of course, from the Adelaide Crows. Will join us in just a moment's time. Running straight into trouble, if you don't mind. There's Tricia there for the DC Eagles. The umpire said it came out fair. Alani Silvio just quickly put it on the left boot, going up the line, finding the likes of Aileen Yoon of the LA Dragons, and we'll call for a ball. We'll call for a free kick rather for the Texas Heat. They'll go long. Mark taken 45 metres out from goal, and they'll be having a shot again to the right of screen. Joining us in commentary on colour commentary, of course, is the co-captain of the Adelaide Crows in the AFLW competition, dual AFLPA MVP and dual W League medalist in Erin Phillips. Good afternoon, Erin.
Peter, thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the call this afternoon. We'll get your thoughts on the tournament in just a moment's time as we're stuck on the outer side. DC Eagles trying to get some movement going through Taylor Dugan, and does so on the right boot out towards the half-forward flank. Play is going to open up here. Here comes Heather Serpico, immediately wrapped up, trying to get a hurried hand pass out. Umpire blows the whistle and says, "You're caught holding the football." And that will be a free kick going the way of the DC Eagles. And they'll be having not quite a shot on goal, because you'll be about 70 metres out, but at least trying to set play up from the centre half forward. You were obviously at the National Championships last year on the Sunday in Racine, Wisconsin. From what you've seen early on the Saturday, different conditions, the cold compared to the heat, as the ball just quickly goes over the top. This is going to be an easy run in and goal here by Olivia Trichler for the DC Eagles. They'll go to 1 straight 6. Texas no score. That's DC 6, Texas no score. How have you seen the standard in play improve over that 12-month period?
Oh, it's completely improved out of sight. I mean, the standard has gone up. Obviously, more players competing this year, but just the general basic skill set has definitely gone up. The basic fundamentals of footy. So it's fantastic to be here, and this is going to be an annual event for me, I think, for years to come.
And how's it been? I mean, obviously you were just a few minutes late coming to our broadcast position because you've been stopped for autograph and photo on photo. How are you getting used to the fame of it all?
I was actually just chatting to Razor Ray for about 2 hours straight. So, but it's been great. I mean, you know, I guess to be recognised by players, you know, from across the other side of the world is pretty special. And to know that the AFLW is having that kind of impact on these girls is absolutely fantastic. So. Who knows, one day might have an AFLW game in the United States, would be pretty special. I've
been talking it up. Let's hope that it happens. We'll get on that in a moment's time. Heather Serpico caught with the football, formerly of the New York Magpies and the Portland Sockeyes. Calls herself the steak expert. Moved to Austin, Texas, not too far away from yourself in Dallas, as it now goes out towards the wing position out of side of the ground. Lalani Silvio tries to get there. Serpico is first, immediately caught, dispossessed of the football, and now they're going to come away with it as they go along up the forward line. Hurst hands up there trying to bring it in. Was Clayton, couldn't do so. Immediately wrapped up and rolled head over heels. The umpire says it's too high and it will be a resulting free kick. Are you surprised by the standard in play and the link up and the structure, etc., compared to, I guess, when many think about Americans playing football, they're going, oh, the awkward kicking style, they don't know how to handle the overshaped ball, etc.?
Well, definitely, like I said, the fundamentals has completely improved. I mean, and that's just credit to the coaches and development of their teams and the commitment of the girls coming out to training and working on their craft. So, you know, I've been so impressed with what I've seen so far, and you know, it's exciting. Every year is just going to keep obviously getting better, and same with AFLW, the standard obviously keeps increasing, so it's great to come over here and see the same thing.
1-1-7 at the moment. DC Eagles leading Texas Heat, no score. That's 7-0 as we wait for the ball to come out of the back line. It's a bit of a shank kick coming out of there, trying to get on the end of it there. Gleason immediately dispossessed of the football. Want to go in there is Kirsten Lowe. She's wrapped up and the umpire will again ask for the football back 45 metres out from the DC goal. Of course, we've seen photos of you in the past hanging out with the Austin Crows. They're just starting to get the women's program off the line. We believe you're in contact with Sonia Lovell there at the Houston Lone Star, so you know a little bit about the Texas Heat team in front of you. But prior to your involvement in AFLW, how much did you actually know about the USAFL?
You know what, not a massive deal, probably even about 4 or 5 years ago, and then I saw the Dallas Magpies had a team, and obviously I'm living in Dallas, so came out and had a look. I think they were playing in Allen, and I was like, wow, you know, Aussie rules in America. I was absolutely blown away, and became obviously a fan ever since. And honestly, if I had 2 good knees, I would have, you know, been running around with the Texas Heat, but unfortunately did my knee, so you never know, next season where it may is, I might have to pull on the Texas Heat jumper.
Just kicked a goal then, Kendall Jennings for the DC Eagles, going with a soccer off the carpet. That extends the lead to 13 points. DC 2-1-13, no score for the Texas Heat. That's 13-0. We're actually going to ask you that question for our podcast coming up later on in a couple of weeks' time. But obviously, at some stage, you will hang up the boots from AFLW, whenever that might be. Has that kind of considered your mind, either according to the USAFL rules, if they permit you to play here at the Nationals, or if not in a playing capacity, in a coaching capacity, because it comes on technically onto the end of the WNBA season? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I'd love to get involved in Aussie rules football past my playing days, or even during it. I think there's you know, there's a lot of talent. There's a talent pool over in America that we could definitely dip into, and you know, just getting girls out to participate and have a go is you know, is fantastic, because they end up loving the game. Even if they are Americans, they get hooked. So if I can help, you know, be a part of getting more exposure in the USA to AFL footy, then, you know, that'd be great.
Jessica Stewart then got caught holding the ball. We reset for the ruck, and there was Rebar that won it down, got it across to Casillas, who went towards half forward, got knocked away. Trying to chase it up there as Medlin for the DC Eagles. Goes on the right boot, going long towards centre half forward, and standing strong there, Kendall Jennings. He's already got 1 goal today, played in a number of the national tournaments, and it's great to see DC doing well. They have been the easy beats in previous years, finishing 3rd here, and then I think the last 2 respective tournaments, as they go long towards the forward line, just straight through the hands there, couldn't hold onto it, was the player, Alexandra Clayton. Umpire says there's a throw in the contest, and that's going to be a free kick. We just wait for them to point in the direction. It's the one thing we do have to get used to with the American umpires, because they've been watching American football naturally, of pointing in the wrong direction, because they're used to pointing forward instead of pointing defensively.
Well, I think they might have a case to prove that they're right and point in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I've had another person argue to me once, a co-caller, about advantage rule, saying that as we kick long, and it's going to be another shot for Kendall Jennings right in the goal square, and she's put that through according to the goal umpire, extends the lead to 19 points. 3-1-19 to no score. That's DC 19, Texas no score. It was arguing the question that with basketball, and particularly rugby, if there is advantage, they don't blow the whistle. They signal advantage, and if there's clearly no advantage, then they blow the whistle to stop the play.
Bizarre. What do you think?
I'm kind of warm to the idea, because what's the natural thing that happens in Aussie rules when you hear the whistle? You stop.
Yeah, no, so makes sense. Makes sense.
It's won me over. The argument has won me over, as the umpire has the ball back in the middle of the ground, and we'll get ready to reset play one more time. Rebar going up in the contest on this occasion, battling out with Gleason for the DC Eagles, who was a late inclusion to the side. Miriam Mita tries to go in there, can't get the football out. Leilani Silvio on the bottom of the deck. The umpire says that's too high, free kick. And it'll be going the way of Leilani Silvio, who helped start up the Los Angeles Dragons women's program, who have fluctuated numbers. They've sent 5 to this tournament. They once had a high of 9, and their best finish was second in San Diego a couple of years ago. Getting in the hand pass out, Leilani Silvio got ripped off the football. That said, Leilani is actually now living in Florida, as now trying to come away with the football was Velasquez. She's immediately caught, and the umpire says too high though, and she will get a resulting free kick. Actually, no, gave it away. Umpire pointed wrong direction, and therefore it will be going the way of Amanda Mora of the Arizona Outlaws. Gets on the right boot, going long and high towards the central corridor. Went through several sets of hands there. Couldn't make it stick. Was Emily Rice, the Des Moines Roosters, playing for DC today. Hand pass quickly away by Bailey. Now moves it towards the forward 50. Goes with a dribbling ball. 45 metres out. Had to do a little bit of dancing. Got caught in the dance floor, and the umpire says that's holding the football, and it'll be a free kick to the way of the DC Eagles. Erin, if you were to put on the coach's hat and take a training session immediately after you've seen the Nationals, if you see one of these sides here, what would be the immediate thing that you would want to focus on as the next step in learning?
Oh, look, I think honestly, it's just keep drilling the basic fundamentals of footy. I mean, I've been really impressed with the tackling ferocity of these girls. I mean, they go in absolutely hard, and basically just you know, just brushing up on a little bit of their just basic you know, kicking left and right. I mean, but honestly, like I said, the standard from last season to now has increased immensely. But look, I think every year they're obviously going to keep getting better, and but I'm excited to see what next year brings, because I've been certainly impressed with this season.
Jennings goes across to Miriam Mita with a flying shot on goal at jagged right, and will register as a minor score. 3-2-20 to no score. That's DC 20, Texas no score. Texas at the moment need to win this game to qualify to get through to the semi-final stage. So this is certainly not helping their task at the moment, as we'll wait for the ball to come back into play. I think the one thing that we've caught as commentators watching has been the play's been more open this year compared to last year. I don't know if it was because of the cold weather in Racine,
potentially,
but it was a lot more congested football.
I think the other thing too that I've been really impressed is that these girls, and they do it here more so than they do in the AFLW, but the ability to play on and take the game on, they play a lot quicker, which I think is you know, to an advantage. So that's something I've been really impressed with, of just watching that they're quick to play on and keep attacking.
Well, get your thoughts on internationals in the moment, because there's obviously one today that, depending on conferences and how everything works out with the AFLW, you may cross paths with next season. Danielle Marshall will be playing for the Western Bulldogs. She scored the AFLW rookie contract. Does that, and she's a utility, can play anywhere, and they've been trying to play her in defensive late. Does that blow your mind that in the moment you could be stepping out on the park with an American next to your side? I mean, I know you're married to an American, but...
I mean, it doesn't blow my mind. It's actually not surprising, because every time, you know, every time Americans, I introduce or show AFL football to Americans in particular, they're actually hooked. So it's just a matter of getting them out to participate and play, because it is a fantastic game, and you know, it's no surprising she's going to get a call up. She's to the AFLW. She's a fantastic player, and I'm excited to see her out there. But what she's doing also is is paving the way for other Americans to see, well, okay, well, we can actually go and play in the AFLW, which is, incredible. So we need to keep encouraging and keep, making these pathways from places like America to come and play in the AFLW.
As the umpire's just blown the whistle and said it's going to be a free kick, it looks like Aileen Yoon who's going to take it here for the Texas Heat. Aileen, of course, coming out of the Los Angeles Dragons program. Rebar's going to try and go in and pick up the football. Does try to charge her way through, missed the kick, went back and got a hurried hand pass over the top, tried to gain some metres, and it worked out okay. Trying to create some pressure as Medlin there for the DC Eagles. Going with her is Hannah Bailey. Bailey goes in and picks it up, gets a hurried kick away, picked up by Leilani Silvio. Leilani Silvio, of course, represented the USA Liberty on their tour of Australia in 2017. Now goes inside 50. We're about 45 metres out from goal. Ball hurriedly goes out towards the forward pocket. Mad scrap on as we speak. It was Bailey from the Des Moines Roosters that chased it up for the DC Eagles. The umpire is circling, will no doubt call for a reset of play, and that's what will occur. You can talk about opening up the first one, as we've seen with Cora Staunton 2 years ago with the GWS Giants. And as we speak, this is prior to the draft occurring, there are 18 Irish women who have signed AFLW contracts.
Yeah, and look, that's just, obviously there's a connection with the Gaelic football, code and the similarities that they have between Gaelic football and Aussie rules. So, they've come into our league and absolutely dominated, and it's just fantastic to see, again, a different country, of players from different countries to come and play, and they're not just coming in and competing, but coming in and absolutely making an impact too.
Tessa Siegel taking the intercepting mark here at centre half back for the DC Eagles. Wants to come inboard, does well. Marked by Emily Rice from the Des Moines Roosters. The original first women's footballer out of the Des Moines Roosters. Goes in the Kendall Jennings direction, who went out to meet the football. Went for a hand pass. Too hot there for Hannah Bailey. Backing up and managing to get it there, I think was Sobral who managed to get it going forward. Looking for Miriam Meter. Ball got away from her. Hurry kick off the ground by the Heat. Goes out towards the half-back flank position. Crash of bodies out there. Silvio is lurking around, not quite needed. Sparling, who kicks the football forward. She's part of a two-team defence that called themselves, because they're from Long Island, New York originally, the Strong Island Ice D. As the ball is now moved up, looking for Rebar, but the ball will be cut off and DC will send it back once again. They're going to play on quickly, unless the umpire pulls up the play due to a possible injury. And the one thing that actually, you may have seen online, the USAFL have actually now released a concussion policy.
No, obviously very important, and we take concussion very seriously, so I'm not sure who's on the ground at the moment, but hopefully she's okay. And if there is that head knock, they will have to obviously do the concussion protocol. So at
the moment she's got her leg up, so let's see if it's a leg injury or not. We know we had a couple of heavy knocks earlier on field 2 during the day, and it's one of those things where it's difficult because the players want to go on and continue playing, particularly when, as you know, in America, they may get to play every 4 to 6 weeks. It's not like back home where, okay, miss a week, I'll be back in 2. Where if you miss out on this occasion and you're told, look, you're scheduled to play 3 games today, but you've been knocked out in your first game, sorry, you can't play now for another how many more months, it can be devastating.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why it's important to have that protocol in place. It can pick who's trying to be brave and who's actually, who's really injured. So, but with any head injuries, you got to take them very seriously. And as a player, we take them very seriously. So, hopefully she's all right. And
well, at the moment they're just checking that leg area. Let's hope that it's some cramp or an ankle, or if it's a knee knock rather than anything more serious. Case in point, obviously, for earlier in the year at Adelaide. I should ask on that point, how are you feeling coming back in your program? Because I've seen, obviously, online you've been working with former US sprinter, the man, of course, famous for breaking many records in the 200 metres and 400 metres, Michael Johnson.
Well, I have not been working with him.
I've seen one or 2 photos. You can claim that.
No,
you can claim
I just met him. I didn't work. I haven't done any work with him, so unfortunately, I'd love to. Obviously, if he could teach me how to run, I'd probably be the fastest person out here. But no, I've been working at the Michael Johnson Performance Center in Dallas, so they've been absolutely fantastic in helping me with my rehab while I've been over here coaching. Obviously, when you do any kind of injury, it's much easier to be in the hands of your club, your team, and to rehab back. And because I was heading back overseas, I was a little bit, I guess, nervous of, okay, what's next? But I've been put in the best hands in the world, especially in the United States for sure. So I'm excited of where I'm at the moment in my rehab. Obviously, plenty of boxes to tick before I can, say what if I'm ever going to get back and play next season. But look, I'm happy with the way things are going at the moment, and hopefully continue to be on track. But yeah, the Michael Johnson Performance Centre has been incredible.
And we should mention about Michael Johnson, how he breaks records, but how he runs with the chest out and shoulders back. Looks like he's taking a morning jog. It feels like he's just going for the milk. Hi everyone, how you going?
He makes it look so effortless. I like when I run, I look like I'm about to fall down.
But these days he could almost be called a slacker after the news that the marathon record, or the 2-hour mark, was broken.
1:59:40. Unbelievable. I couldn't even drive that fast.
As we see the player there now, I think it might have been a 26, so I've got a feeling, don't quote me on this, but it might have been Delfina Delgadillo from the Los Angeles Dragons, who might be the player there.
Looks like an ankle, I think.
So an ankle is certainly better than a knee, and let's just hope that it's rolled rather than anything requiring bolts, etc. I do have a friend that used to play women's state cricket, and she says she goes through the airport security and it goes off because she's got all the bolts and screws in the ankle. Shout out to Christy Williams there, used to play cricket for New South Wales and SA for that matter. As the hooter goes, and I think they're signaling restart play or time on again. Things a little bit different here in the USAFL. Emily Rice goes charging through like a hot knife through butter inside the forward 50. Lalani Silvio tries to take them on. Ball bounced off of her knee, so not technically a correct disposal. Umpire comes in and will call for a ball up, and we'll reset play again about 35 metres out from goal. Going there, now tapping it on. Hurried snap out of the pack there, and it's going to be marked deep in defence by Heather Serpico, who started up the Portland Sockeyes program along with Jess Blecker, who played for Collingwood VFLW this year. They started up that program about 3 years ago, and 4 years ago, because they won 3 Division 2 titles in a row before stepping up to Division 1. As once again the play is trapped, and we're going to call for yet another ball up.
No, it's called holding the ball.
Oh, okay, he's pulled out a surprise here. Said you sat on it, and that means it's going the way of Kristen Lowe. Ironic, Lowe in Florida, as now goes long towards the top of the goal square. Ball got out the back. Mita trying to get a hurry kick there. Also trying to go soccer off the ground there was Marissa Mullins. Kicked it towards the boundary line. Samantha Carey's lurking nearby. Miriam Mita had it, then was dispossessed of the football. They tried to take him on. Hurried little hand pass there. Didn't quite squeeze out. Amanda Morrow from the Arizona Outlaws. Oh, she sold the teammate right up the creek there as Kesley Casillas came in and dispossessed her opponent. The umpire said there was no prior opportunity. We're going to call for a ball up. I'm interested to know, for all the photos and the chat that you've been having, of course you had a Q&A session yesterday. What's the most common question that the USAFL women's footballers are asking you?
How's your knee? There you go. How's your knee? I get asked that quite a bit. But look, honestly, they've been fantastic, and a lot of them have just been kind of picking my brain of different things of preparation, whether it's before the game, during, and I guess what things that I do during the game and focuses and things like that. And it's been just great to be able to share that with them. And I shared a story of how I don't like getting my toenails stomped on and they go black and fall off, and one of the girls literally hugged me because she felt like she was the only one that felt the same. So, but it hurts. So
yeah. As we see play continue on, Crystal Winters was on the bottom of that pack, couldn't quite get the hand pass out. Ball dribbling towards broadcast side, half back flank here for the Texas Heat. Trying to get her hands on the football was Jessica Stewart, got knocked out of her hands. Winters win again, almost a one-handed throw, and the umpire spotted that. And that's pinned against Kesley Casillas of the Los Angeles Dragons, playing for the Texas Heat today. And the umpire says it's going to be a free kick going the way of the DC Eagles, and saying the player that has to take it is Marissa Mullins. Mullins is about 65 metres out from home, is going to go inside 50, just bounced off the chest there of the player flying through the air, but it managed to ricochet out to Samantha Carey. Goes towards the top of the goal square, trying to find her sister in Kate Carey. Got knocked away from her. Ball hit the deck, and the umpire said the player had it, let go of it onto the ground and picked it up again, which is incorrect disposal. So a free kick going the way here of Mackenzie Medlin, and Mack is going to play on quickly and missed to the right-hand side for a minor score. So 3-2-20 the DC Eagles. Texas Heat no score. That's 22-zip You're at the Premier Sports Complex in Lakewood Ranch, Florida on Go Live Sportscast. Peter Holden with you from Women's Australian Rules Football Radio, along with the champion superstar herself, Erin Phillips from the Adelaide Crows, as they kick long out of defence, trying to find Clayton to get involved there, and she did well, gave it off. Here's a hurried flying shot on goal, and be away to the right-hand side for a minor score, 3-3-21 to no score. I want to ask one question about you. Prior to obviously playing AFLW, and it was around that time, probably prior to WBBL and the Super Netball really becoming professional, then women's sport was very quiet on the scene. It still is compared to men. But how did it feel for you? I know obviously it was a horrible moment that you had to come off with that ACL in Adelaide Oval, but having 53,000 people stand and give you a standing ovation as you came from the ground.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was I guess a bittersweet moment. You don't want to ever have to be taken off on a stretcher, and especially not in a grand final. But yeah, it was just one of those moments where I just had obviously great respect, you know, for obviously my teammates, the Carlton girls, to get around me and you know, check in and show their support. And then you know, as I was leaving, to kind of look around and get that ovation as I did was really special. But I mean, I was still trying to, I guess, embrace it and put on I guess a brave face, and inside I was, you know, crushed. But look, at that point I knew as well that as soon as I get back in the change room, I'm probably gonna quickly get it bandaged or whatever, or ice. I knew exactly what I had done, so I just wanted to hurry up and actually get back out by the bench so I could celebrate with the girls, because I think we were pretty comfortably in front at that point. And but yeah, it was a special moment. But to have 53,000 people come to a women's AFL game was just something incredible, something I'll never ever forget. And I know both the Crows girls and Carlton girls is something that is incredibly special and a huge part of history.
We might take this opportunity to let you have just a quick little break. We've got a 7-minute pause here for the half-time break. As we go to the break, at the moment, it is the DC Eagles, 3-2-20, leading the Texas Heat, no score. We'll be back in a moment. and welcome back to the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. This is the United States Australian Football League National Championships. This is pool action from Women's Division 2. Peter Holden from Women's Australian Rules Football Radio, joined in a moment's time by Erin Phillips, the co-captain of the AFLW Adelaide Crows, as we wait for the umpire to get ready to get play underway. Holds the ball aloft. We're just waiting for the scoreboard attendants to do the hooter. They're obviously not paying attention to what's going on, so we will be a few seconds away. And there's the hooter. We are underway to begin the second half here. It is a 22-point lead. Score was corrected at halftime to 3-4-22 to zip. Taken out of the contest there by Medlin, who got it into the middle of the ground for Jennings, who put it on the right boot, goes up the line, going towards the centre half forward position. Oh, that's a car wreck. That is a car wreck. And I think there's Michelle Knoll, who took out, pardon me, that's number 21, and Crystal Winters, who took out her opponent. Her opponent went under the ball. Winters went over the top. And that is almost worth changing insurance details. That was pretty harsh. And the umpire is just obviously going to check that the well-being of the player is okay, who got herself underneath. The player on the bottom of the pack was Alexandra Clayton, who got cleaned up there by Crystal Winters. We're joined back in the commentary position by, of course, the dual premiership co-captain with the Adelaide Crows in Erin Phillips, and, of course, current assistant coach with the Dallas Wings in the WNBA. We'll ask a question on that in just a moment's time. As being brought to ground, the umpire says no, that's popped out, it's play on. Kristen Lowe was caught there with the football, trying to go in. There's Lolani Silvio, hurry kick out of the pack, coming there by Mora, goes towards the half-forward lane position. Meter almost with a two-handed scoop. I think the umpire off the pack has missed that, or actually spotted that rather, and he's now signaling that as a free kick to the Texas Heat. Of course, as we said, your assistant coach of the Dallas Wings. Your thoughts actually just on that 5-game series between the Mystics and the Sun?
It was fantastic. I mean, it was a series we all wanted and expected, and I thought the better team all season, the Washington Mystics. I actually thought at one point they were without Deladon and the herniated discs that she had in the back. Played with 3 of them. I thought they might have been done, but she absolutely rallied her team and got them over the line. It was absolutely fantastic series.
Clayton's long kick is being marked deep in defence by her Serpico, who normally plays as a midfielder pushing forward, but for Texas has been playing in defence. Kicks it long up the line. Umpire says that's dropping the football, and a free kick will be going the way surely of the Heat here. Just waiting to point in the right direction for Aileen Yoon to pick up the football. I think one of the most remarkable games was, I think, one of the wildcard matches early on with the Las Vegas Aces, and that three-pointer from out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, that was stepping inside of the half court and launching a bomb. It was unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't sleep after that game. I was that excited. I couldn't believe what I just saw. But the whole final series in the WNBA has been fantastic. So it was a great series between the Sun and the Mystics to finish off what's been a really, really good season, and you know, again, exciting for another season next year.
As the umpire blows the whistle and calls for a ball up, let's just ask about that for the moment with the basketballers that you work with and sometimes play against and mingle post-match, etc. How many have asked you, A, about Aussie rules to begin with, and how many, whether jokingly or half seriously, said, do you think I'd be good if I had a go?
Oh, trust me, I've already targeted a few of them that I'm slowly convincing to come across to have a kick. Because, you know, there's not hard to find height in the WNBA,
yes.
So there's a few ruckmen out there, but they, you know, when I first show them what AFL is, they think I'm absolutely nuts to play it. So, you know, they ask where the padding is, or, you know, initially when you tell them you play football, they think it's rugby, and then you say no, and oh, is it soccer, and you say no. So when you show them, they're just absolutely blown away about the game. And I've got all the Dallas Wings and their membership are obviously all Adelaide Crow supporters, which is fantastic.
Just now taking the marks here, Trishla for the DC Eagles finds herself about 55 metres out from goal, directly in front, going to right of screen into a slight 1-goal breeze. Now kicks it up the line. Reba waiting back there. Hurry kick out of the pack. Serpico, hands and knees, dropped the footy, then got it back again, put it on the right boot, swings it out towards the half-back flank on the outer side of the ground. Hesitant there was Linda Ha, who didn't go in to meet the football. Molly Holberstadt then gets it, goes up the line to Miriam Meter, who takes the mark and immediately plays on. Meter then runs in, thought about having a shot shot at goal, pulled the kick at the last moment, mark for the Heat on the last line of defence. And that's one thing I guess we've seen with women's football. It's not just exclusively to the USA, and it happens in Australia in a lot of lower divisions, women that are new to the game. The hesitant kick, not kicking through with intent.
Yep. Oh, look, I thought at that time she might have looked to pass and then try to put off the side of the boot, but just that decision making under extreme pressure and on the fly is something that's you got to keep learning as you grow with the game. And but look, these girls are going to pick it up obviously with more repetition and time. And I just love, like I said before, I love the pace of the game. I love their ability to attack and take on the game. We saw with her before, even though she did kick off the side of the boot, she ran off her mark and outrun her opponent. And there she goes again, with that forward pressure. So tackling standard has been fantastic.
That's Miriam Meter, who goes again for a third effort.
Yep.
Hurry kick that comes out of the pack, puts into a dangerous spot 35 metres out from goal. Loose boot, surprised it wasn't a call for in danger. Dugan goes in there, and the umpire's pulled out a free kick for a throw, so that will relieve the pressure here for the Texas Heat. And we'll get a chance to reset play in just a moment's time once the ball does come back. You've had obviously a chat with Christina Licata, who was part of the Q&A, and obviously had conversations with her. What knowledge have you passed, or at least help from the sidelines, obviously as the USA Freedom Program builds up for IC 2020 next year?
Oh, we've still got a, we just chatted obviously briefly last night, but she's a person, a coach that I'd love to sit down and pick her brain, not just obviously her picking my brain. I think she's a fantastic coach, and she's very, very well respected around the football field here, and I think she does a fantastic job. So it's going to be something definitely before I leave to catch up and pick her brain as well.
Medling goes long with the kick, and Jennings ends up taking a mark. Now, of course, obviously you've been talking about possibly coaching the WNBA, maybe coaching a little bit here with the USAFL. Where do you see your career post-playing? Is it in coaching? Do you see yourself dabbling in the media as this shot on goal from Jennings is just going to squeeze in and extend the margin 28-0? Yeah,
good question. I mean, right now, my biggest thing is just to try to rehab and play football, because you're a long time retired. So, I've been, I guess, exposing myself to as much as I can of in the football department, obviously in the media and parts like that. But the biggest problem, and it's a problem with a lot of athletes, is that we're doing the job that we absolutely love, and that's the ultimate job. So for me, it's going to be very hard come the day that I eventually hang up the boots, because it'll be giving up something that my dream job, and probably having to settle for something a little bit less. But look, staying involved in sport is something that I definitely know is something I want to do. So we'll see as far as that takes me. I don't know.
Well, I'll ask you one question. Again, I was going to ask you for the podcast, but we can have an exclusive on this in a moment's time when we talk about 3 or 4 years' time in the AFL when it does expand again. Actually, now as we call for a ball up, we know that originally you're actually a marquee for the Port Adelaide Power. Of course, they didn't end up getting a license at that stage, and they focused on China. We know, of course, the long history that you've got with the Phillips name at the Port Adelaide Football Club back in the Magpies days with the Sandful, as the hurry kick there by Lalani Silvio goes inside 50 now. There's going to be a foot race on here. Lavian tries to put her head over the football. Did well to try and keep it alive. The supporter's going to get there in Silvio, but she overruns the football. We're very close towards the boundary line, 55 metres out. Silvio wanted to have a second crack at it, putting her head over the ball there with Susan Swink. And the umpire's pulled out a free kick, says it's in the back. It's going the way of the DC Eagles. Of course, because they didn't, you end up playing, as we know, with the Adelaide Crows. 3 to 4 years' time could be a realistic time where you may think to retire. Port Adelaide come into the competition. If they come and knock it, if they come and knock and say, we're looking for a coach.
Look, you're starting rumours now. You're trying to set me up for something. Look, honestly, I love my club, Adelaide. If you asked me 4 years ago though, if I'd played for the Crows, I would have been like, you're joking me, aren't you? But here we are today. So look, I haven't honestly thought that far. If the Crows don't want me, then I'll probably, you never know. But I'm really happy with the club and the support that they've shown me and my wife and 3 kids to, help us move, because, it's a massive commitment, from Tracy and kids to drag them from the other side of the world to come play Aussie rules. So they've been fantastic. So right now there's absolutely no reason for me to go anywhere. So
yeah. Well, was there any thought that crossed your mind, or at least an offer from Collingwood? Because the actual father-daughter rule means you only have to play one game, and of course Greg played a number of years in what was then the VFL with Collingwood.
Yeah, as far as what my manager at the time told me, it was that Collingwood weren't interested.
Oh, wow.
I mean, granted, I hadn't played for 17 years, so it was, I guess, rolling the dice on bringing in a player who you never know, kind of what you're going to get. But yeah, look, that's as far as I knew. Was Collingwood weren't in that position to sign me, and Adelaide were. So I was, really lucky to end up in Adelaide. That's where I wanted to be, back home. So yeah, it was good to be able to come home after being overseas playing for a few years.
As Moira goes long and then kicks it in towards a pack situation, we call for a ball up in the DC Eagles forward pocket. Just as you mentioned back home, because obviously your parents are there back in South Australia, but of course I've read through Wikipedia, and I'm proud to say that you're actually a born and bred Victorian.
Oh, yeah. Damn Wikipedia. Gets me every time. That's true. That's true. I'm not going to lie. I was born in Carlton, believe it or not, back in when Dad played for Collingwood. So, but I got my South Australian citizenship, so I'm definitely South Aussie.
Trishla there putting the goal through for the DC Eagles. That extends the margin 5-4-34 to no score. That's DC Eagles 34 to no score for the Texas Heat, as we wait for the ball to come back to the ground. Now, it's rarely that anyone in the media says they're wrong. I'm happy to go on the record and say I was wrong. When you originally picked up by then the marquee status for Port Adelaide Crows, I went, what a waste of it. She hasn't played football in 7 years. How's she going to go against Pearce, Carney, Blackburn, Dunellen, Zilke, Ferrugia? Yeah, I was wrong. Massively wrong. As the ball is thrown up in the air to yourself, and this is probably, there's going to be a question of faith when the US players go across to Australia, and how do they go? What were you thinking when you're stepping into what was technically an already made environment, even though it just hadn't happened yet on the national stage?
Look, honestly, even though I wasn't a football player, even though I stopped playing football, I never stopped being a football player. I mean, I lived my hopes and dreams of ever playing football through my brother-in-law Sean Burgoyne, who currently still plays for Hawthorn. So got to follow his career, and even though I was overseas, I was still, I guess, studying and following the game as much as I could. But look, when I got to, I guess, sign with the AFLW and the Adelaide Crows, I mean, the league was just unbelievable, and how much it's grown is just absolutely incredible.
Should mention there a fantastic snap-on goal. Samantha Carey picked up the spill, and from 20 metres out, put her on the right boot, managed to bend it back and extend the margin to 40 points. The DC Eagles at this rate will be going through as the top-ranked side in their pool in Division 2 and go on to the semi-finals tomorrow morning. 6-4-40 to no score. That's DC 40, Texas no score here. Let me put on your coach's hat for a moment. Let's say you're keeping an eye here on the Texas Heat. You're in a tournament where, okay, you'll have a game tomorrow, 5th versus 6th, but you're out of the finals equation. What would you be hoping to try and get out of your side in the dying stages, dying 10, 15 minutes of a game where, okay, we can't make the next stage, we realistically can't win this game? What would you be looking to try to achieve? Look,
for me, it's one, don't stop playing. It's play to the absolute final siren, no matter what the scoreline is, for me as a coach, is what I expect from my players. But just to keep pressure, you try, hopefully don't let them keep scoring on you. If you can try to keep surging the ball forward, and never know, might snap a quick last minute goal. That's what I'd be hoping. But yeah, just to try to keep that pressure up, and take some kind of momentum into the next game.
At the moment, 6-5-41 DC Eagles. The Texas Heat are no score, 41-0. Samantha Carey has been breaking up some disposals in this last couple of minutes. Has the ball here for the DC Eagles. She is about 55 metres out from home. Gets on the right boot, goes to the hot spot in the Jennings direction. Came off her scone, went back and got it again. Got it across to Dugan wearing the headband, who had to weave through heavy traffic. Got on the left boot, ricocheted off hands, and will go through for a minor score. 6-6-42 is the DC Eagles no score for the Texas Heat. That's 42 DC, Texas in no score. Okay, let's swap the hat to the other side. You're the DC Eagles. You're comfortably winning at the moment. There may be some consideration. You're going to put your better players on the bench to rest them. What do you want to try and achieve out the last few minutes to go, okay, we've ticked every box we needed to tick before we go to the semi-final stage? Yeah,
obviously, you know, you'd probably rest your high-minute players, your good players, to get them, keep them fresh for the next game. But just to stay clean, you still want to finish the game off with a good feeling and finish the game playing good football to keep that momentum going into tomorrow. But obviously, you know, you probably, as players, when you're up by this many, you probably wouldn't go as hard into some contested footy as you probably would if it was a tied match. But look, just to play good footy, clean footy, keep doing the fundamentals well, and like I said, just maintain possession and keep injury, basically keep away from injuries.
Umpires pinned holding the football, and it will be a free kick here going the way of the DC Eagles. Kate Carey will end up having the free kick on this occasion. Defensive side centre wing, goes up the line. Dugan flows to the air, couldn't quite pull it in. Trying to get a hack job out of there. Amanda Morrow from the Arizona Hawks, the Arizona Outlaws, the other Arizona team, playing today with the DC Eagles. Nearly getting collected as she kicked is Emily Rice from the Des Moines Roosters. Put it towards the half-forward flank position, came off chest, trying to pick it up there is Alexandra Clayton. Now with a little toe poker going forward towards the pocket, is going to get cleaned up, and the Heat will send it back from whence it came, only as far as the outstretched hands of Kristen Lowe. And Lowe now on the left boot, looks for rain with this kick, looking for Dugan, who pulled it in. One by, pulled it into the breadbasket, immediately played on, got to get around two, swings on the left boot, and again misses. And it's at that point that we were talking earlier, we love that they're playing on, but it's just the kick at the end of the day, that little bit of hesitation.
Yeah, probably there. Not a bad time to go back when you're up by 43 points, just to go back, go through your routine, have a shot, put a couple of people in the goal square if it falls short, have a crack at a mark, but just to maintain possession, slow the game down a little bit. But again, you can't take away the fact that they love to take this game on, but probably in that situation, good time to bring it back.
6-7-43 to no score. That's DC 43, Texas no score. Umpire says holding the football. Free kick going the way of the DC Eagles, on this occasion being picked up by Tessa Siegel. And she'll have it right on the logo here for the USAFL. Don't forget their website, usafl.com, their Twitter account, USAFL 1997. Of course, the Women's Division 1 Grand Final tomorrow, live 3 p.m. on ESPN3 for North American audiences, as the kick is long towards the forward 50, looking for Jennings, who stood tall and takes a mark, and she'll be looking to have a shot on goal. Let's talk about goal kicking for a moment, because we're seeing that many Americans find it easier, particularly to do the run-on and goal. Some can kick from about 20-25 out. Typically, a lot have been struggling, generally from 30 to 40 out. What approach do you take to your goal kicking when you're going further out rather than having a snap from 20?
Obviously, I tell all of our players, make sure you have a routine, and if you're in range, go back and take the shot. You know, if you're a little bit out of range, go back quickly, get that next lead and hit somebody up. But for me, making sure that I mark in front of as we're going to probably see another goal here. Landing goals here. Absolutely,
it's gone through. I think Mina might have got it on that occasion, and that extends the margin out to 7-7-49. Not quite an 8-8-56 brother, but a 7-7-49 there for the DC Eagles. No score for the Texas Heat. That's 49 DC, no score for the Texas Heat. Because I guess many are worried about the long, and you see some that kick it early, or it's a high ball drop, so there's distance, but it goes up rather than trying to find it laterally. And there's also some as well that, if you see, get very close to the player on the mark.
Yeah, well, that's why it's really important to mark your run up where you think you can kick the ball without hitting the man on the mark, and then go back from there. And I approach my run up, my goal kicking, into a few just small balance steps, and then start jogging and flow basically into a kick. And you can, I guess, have that confidence to know that I'm not going to kick it into the man on the mark, and I'm going through my set shot, which is the same every time, so it comes basically second nature.
As the ball is on the outer side, they try to get a hurried hand pass out there. Great tackle again laid on by Amanda Mora. Rebo goes in there, got pulled to ground but got a kick away. Dugan intercepted, no 15, must play on. Spun around there by Lalani Silvio. Kendall Jennings swings around on the left boot towards the centre half forward position. Looking for Miriam Mead, who's got squeezed in the sandwich. Out comes the stake expert and Heather Serpico. Swings it around on the right boot, goes out towards the wing position. Ball is dropped there by Laura McAuliffe. McAuliffe has to try and go again. Wanted to knock the football forward. In fact, it wasn't, pardon me. I should correct myself on that occasion. It's Gleason, and now the DC Eagles send it back. Looking for Meter. It was the stake expert and Heather Serpico who got it and got the hand pass back, and the umpire will call for a ball up. Of course, congratulations to Heather, voted on as secretary of the USAFL board on Friday.
Fantastic.
We now have 3 women on the board with, of course, Lauren Skosnechny, otherwise known as Snitch. She is now the Vice President, Western Region,
awesome.
and member at large playing for the DC Eagles today, Molly Halberstadt.
Awesome.
Molly, of course, was one of those responsible which organised for the Arctic Cup to be played between DC and some other sides, out of all places, in Iceland.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Now, Iceland's not ice, it's green, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
This is the confusing part. Greenland is ice, but Iceland is green.
Okay, I think I learned that from the Mighty Ducks. Is that right?
Possibly. It's the most random place in the world to find it, but probably yes. As we wait for Kendall Jennings to have a shot on goal, and we should say on the international side this year, the tournaments won so far. The Malaysia Warrior women won the AFL Asian Championships in Thailand in August, and just a few hours ago, the Irish Banshees with a big win over the German Eagles at the AFL European Championships in London.
Fantastic.
As the umpire says, that is full time, and that will conclude things here. It is the DC Eagles 7-7-49 defeating the Texas Heat, no score. Now, Erin will be joining us again in a moment's time with Brian Barish, the American BT, the media manager of the USAFL, in the broadcast position. But before I sign off today, Erin, again, thank you very much for being so generous with your time. From some of the players that you saw today and some of the skill, what impressed you from what you saw from this 40 minutes of football?
Like I said before, just the ability to take the game on, the pace of the game, the way it's opened up since last year. Simple fundamentals have gotten better, but look, it's been a fantastic tournament so far, and I'm excited to see who DC plays tomorrow.
Absolutely, because we know on the other side of the draw, sides that still come up include the Philadelphia Hawks, Arizona Hawks combination, including Danny Marshall in that team. Also on the other side of the draw, if I try and scratch my brain there for a moment,
San Francisco?
No, it'll be New York Reserves. They're teaming up with Sacramento Suns. That will be the other team. There goes my research out the door
Where's the Wikipedia?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But Brian Barish will have that game for you coming up in just a moment's time. He'll give you the breakdown on who needs to beat who. Of course, we do know on the Division 1 side, for those that have joined us, they're just figuring out who's going to be who in the combination. But we know going through to the semi-finals, the 3-time reigning national champions, the San Francisco Iron Maidens, the Minnesota Freeze have got through to the next stage. Christina Licata's New York Magpies, after finishing last year, have got through to the semi-final stage, and they are being joined by the Seattle Grizzlies, featuring April Lewis, Essendon VFLW footballer. Erin, thank you once again for your time. I know you're joining Brian again very shortly, and once again, thank you for supporting women's football out here at the United States Australian Football League.
No, thank you so much for having me.
We'll be back in a moment's time. You're listening to Go Live Sportscast. And now, yep.